Welcome to the first episode of Sports Down in Auburn of the fall semester. I'm Mackenzie Collins.
And I'm McLaughlin. We have a lot in store for tonight's show. We will be reviewing Auburn's struggling win over Georgia State, the beginning of SEC play for soccer and volleyball, along with more important news within Auburn athletics.
Coming off a tough-fought battle in Happy Valley against the Penn State Nittany Lions, the Tigers look to clean up their mishaps in order to get ready for the SEC slate of the schedule. The Tigers welcome in the 1-2 Georgia State Panthers to Jordan-Hare Stadium for what was supposed to be a dominant win for Auburn. However, that was not the case.
The Tigers looked sluggish coming out of the gate, as if they were looking right past the Panthers, and more so on facing LSU next week. Here are the highlights of Saturday's game against the Panthers, covered by Eagle Eye's Jake Gonzalez.
The Auburn Tigers look to bounce back this week following last week's loss to Penn State in Happy Valley. This week's opponent is Georgia State, and it's the first meeting between the Auburn Tigers and the Georgia State Panthers. Auburn opens up as a 27-point favorite at home, and Bo Nix looks to correct the ship on offense following a lackluster performance. Georgia State will get the scoring started early with this field goal, and that would give them the 3-0 lead early in the first. Nehemiah Pritchett returned the ensuing kickoff 72 yards to give Auburn great field position. The Auburn drive would stall, but Anders Carlson would knock in a field goal to tie it up at 3. Auburn relied on special teams yet again to get into Georgia State territory, but that drive would stall as well, and Carlson would knock yet in another field goal to give Auburn the 6-3 lead heading into the second quarter. The Auburn offense really struggled in the first half, and in the second quarter, Georgia State dominated as they outscored Auburn 21-6. Heading into halftime, the Georgia State Panthers would lead number 23 Auburn 24-12. Auburn special teams would shine yet again as they blocked a punt and recovered it for a touchdown in the third quarter. The Auburn offense still was struggling, but the Georgia State lead was cut to 5 thanks to the special teams. TJ Finley would replace Bo Nix late in the third quarter, and this pass to Xavion Capers got his first drive going. The penalty would move them into field goal range, and Carlson would come out, but he couldn't convert the field goal. The lead stayed at 5. The Auburn defense stood tall, though, and got the ball back. Tank Bigsby would fumble later on in the drive, and Georgia State would recover. The Auburn defense yet again stood tall and got the ball back for Auburn. With 3 minutes and 23 seconds to go, TJ Finley and the Auburn offense had to drive the length of the field. And this pass here to John Samuel Shanker would set the Auburn Tigers up with a great red zone opportunity. And on 4th and goal with 55 seconds left, TJ Finley scrambled in the pocket before finding Cedric Jackson in the end zone for the Auburn touchdown. The Tigers would go for 2 and converted it to make it a 3-point game. Georgia State 2 plays later would throw an interception, and Smoke Monday would return it for a pick 6. This would give Auburn the final scoreline that it needed to win 34-24, and Brian Harsin and the Auburn Tigers will look to build on this as they head on the road next week to LSU. For Eagle Eye TV, this is Jake Gonzalez.
Auburn's offense had a slow start once more. It was not until Kalen Newton's blocked punt that was recovered in the end zone to give the Tigers their first touchdown of the game. However, the defense held the Panthers' offense scoreless in the second half and gave the Tigers every opportunity to take the lead.
Quarterback Bo Nix struggled once again in Saturday's outing, ultimately leading to head coach Brian Harsin deciding to bench the 2-year starter late into the third quarter. So in came the LSU transfer, TJ Finley. Finley had been waiting for his opportunity to come, and the Auburn fans were wholeheartedly behind him as Jordan-Hare erupted in cheers as soon as Finley stepped foot onto Pat Dye Field. Here's what Finley had to say following his game-winning touchdown pass.
Let's do it. Let's have a 98-yard touchdown drive. It was simple as that. I told everybody to do their job. They told me, TJ, they got me. I told them, I got y'all. It was as simple as that, and we got together and we got the job done. So I was quite disappointed in myself. I missed a wide open touchdown, third down, which I will get that fixed tomorrow. But to answer your question, my mindset was just next play. I saw some pressure coming from the left side. I've never done this before, but I spent out the tackle, and Shed did an amazing job coming open and catching the ball and coming down with it. The line of scrimmage, we dominated the line of scrimmage in the second half. We got the run game going a little bit as well, and we caught the ball downfield. Just everything was clicking. Everything that we had practiced going into the game plan had kind of got rolling, and the offensive line did a great job setting the tone in the second half. It was amazing. It's a great feeling. I've never had that experience in Auburn yet, and that was my first experience. So the fans were amazing, and then my teammates. It gives me chills because they support me so much, and we support everybody on the team. And to just feel that love and respect from your teammates is just an amazing feeling. We talk every series. He comes to the sideline, and I have some things that I see that he could have hit, and things like that. I calm him down sometimes, and same vice versa. When I came off the sideline, he calmed me down sometimes, and things like that. We both give each other positive feedback and even negative feedback. Because if a person always giving you positive feedback, they're not really keeping it real with you. So I kept it real with him in the first half. He kept it real with me in the second half. And that's just the love relationship that we have with each other to be able to do that. And he trusts my word and I trust his.
Quarterback Bo Nix went 13 for 27 through the air for 156 yards and 0 touchdowns before being replaced by Finley late in the third quarter. TJ Finley in his one quarter of play went 9 for 16 for 97 yards and the go-ahead touchdown with 45 seconds left to play. Finley was able to rush 3 times for 15 yards.
Auburn's special teams shined on Saturday afternoon, providing a little bit of offense when the Bo Nix in the offense could not. Nehemiah Pritchett totaled 183 yards on his kick returns with a long of 72 yards that set up an Auburn field goal. Kicker Anders Carlson hit 4 field goals in the first half for Auburn. With the 12 points on Saturday, Carlson moved into second place all-time in scoring for Auburn, only behind his brother Daniel. Kayla Newton's blocked punt brought Auburn to within 5 and gave the Tigers a fighting chance.
Auburn's defense was sluggish in the first half, letting Georgia State rush for 219 yards. Starting linebackers Zacoby McLean and Owen Papo's presence were missed in the first half. When McLean returned to the game in the second half, the Tigers were able to hold Georgia State to 48 yards. Senior safety Spoke Monday got on the action with interception, returned for a touchdown to cap off the Auburn win. That is Monday's 3rd career pick 6.
Following Saturday's comeback win over Georgia State, here's what Brian Harsin had to say.
Georgia State had fought extremely hard, and I thought they came out there and they whooped us in a lot of ways, and I think that's something that everybody in that locker room knows. Know that we found a way to win. I think there's something to be said for that too. Just it's not pretty, it's not perfect, but you found a way. We had played every running back, we played every wide receiver. You're not going to switch your offensive line out, and I made the decision to change and try to create some type of momentum at the offensive, at the quarterback position for the offense. And so that was my decision. That was my decision. That was something that I tell our quarterbacks all the time, like, control what you can control. Guys around you have to make plays. That's the one thing about the quarterback position. You get way too much credit and way too much blame. Really, in that situation, it's just about winning the game. It's not about what has happened in the game. It's not about any of the other things that happened through all the quarters and the time that we played. It's just, hey, let's just go make one play at a time. Let's go move the ball down the field, and let's put ourselves in a position to win this game, and that's exactly what we did. Special teams were huge in this game. That really, to me, was probably the biggest thing as far as momentum goes. Anders kept us in the game. Great kicker. He's one of the best in the country, if not the. And we have got to put that ball in the end zone when we get down in the red zone. That's the storyline. Auburn football, get better every single day, moving forward. All right? You're playing chess, not checkers. Prepare yourself, have yourself ready. Coaches, get better. Everybody improve every single day. Be 1-0. However you want to say that. Be 1-0 every day, and then get yourself ready throughout the week so you can go.
Brian Harsin broke some unexpected news earlier this week. Auburn's wide receiver coach Cornelius Williams was fired following the game on Saturday. Through the first 4 games of the season, the Tigers' wide receiver core has struggled holding onto the ball and execution. Several players on Saturday featured just 10 players on the field due to miscommunication between the wide receiver group.
Williams, who spent the past 6 seasons coaching receivers at Troy, was hired to the Auburn staff in January. According to the Auburn Undercover, Williams signed a 2-year, $600,000 deal in January. Auburn will owe Williams a buyout on the remainder of his deal.
Head coach Brian Harsin has already replaced wide receiver coach Cornelius Williams with a face familiar to Harsin. Williams is being replaced by Eric Keesall. Keesall was Boise State's offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach last season and the wide receiver coach at Boise from 2017 to 2019.
Keesall has had the luxury of coaching a number of current NFL greats, such as Keenan Allen, Deshaun Jackson, and Marvin Jones, to name a few. Harston and Keesall will need to improve the wide receiver group in order to improve Auburn's offense.
This coming Saturday, the 3-1 Auburn Tigers travel to Death Valley to take on the rival 3-1 LSU Tigers. The question all Auburn fans are wondering is who will be the starting quarterback for the game? Will Bo Nix remain the starter, or will LSU transfer TJ Finley take over the reins against his former team in a scene you could only script for a cinematic sports drama?
Auburn comes into the game ranked 23rd in the country. However, they are 3.5-point underdogs to LSU. Following a rough past couple of weeks for Auburn, Saturday's game feels more and more like a must-win game for Brian Harston and the Tigers. It does not help the fact that Auburn has not won a game inside of Tiger Stadium since 1999. The primetime kickoff for the Battle of the Tigers is set for 8 p.m. Central Time and will be broadcasted on ESPN. When we return, we will talk about the other sports happening around Auburn, including soccer, volleyball, and some basketball. You're watching Sports Night in Auburn.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. Auburn soccer looked to bounce back from the loss at Tennessee against Texas A&M over the weekend. Here's Andrew Meza with highlights from the game.
The number 11 Auburn Tigers welcomed in the Texas A&M Aggies. It was Fall Family Weekend on the Plains and parents were in attendance, as well as special guest appearances by Obby and Elvis Presley. The game kicked off with both teams hungry to score the first goal. Auburn would get things started off with an incredible goal by Emmy Craven from 70 yards out. The ball spiked over A&M's goalie and resulted in the Tigers' first goal. Auburn's second goal would come from a penalty kick after Carly Thatcher was fouled inside the box. Cindy Richards would score the penalty. Halftime ended 2-0. The Aggies were eager to get back out there. A&M would struggle to create chances going up against the Auburn defense. The frustration was definitely shown on the field. This resulted in one of A&M's coaches getting a yellow card for talking back to the referee. Auburn would not yield and would create more intensity throughout the game. Eventually, Auburn would get another penalty kick this time. Anna Haddock would take the kick and score. The Tigers would go on to win 3-0, a huge bounce-back win from their game earlier against Tennessee this week. The Tigers would go on the road on Friday and take on the number 19 South Carolina Gamecocks. This is Andrew Meza reporting for Eagle Eye TV.
With split results this week, Auburn has moved to 8-2 on the season and dropped from number 11 to number 13 in the United Coaches poll.
Auburn volleyball lost in 5 sets to Alabama State on Sunday in Montgomery. With the loss, Auburn falls to 8-3 on the season. Junior Rebecca Rath picked up her second double-double on the season as she gathered 13 digs and a season-high 24 kills. Senior Bella Rosenthal led the charge on defense with her 27 digs. This is her 4th match of the season with at least 20 digs.
Auburn volleyball continues SEC play tonight in Knoxville, Tennessee to take on number 20 Tennessee. First service set for 7:20 p.m. and is airing on the SEC network. Tennessee currently sits atop the SEC standings at 10-2 overall and 2-0 in the SEC. Auburn returns to Auburn Arena on Saturday and Sunday to take on Alabama. The series opens on Saturday at 4:30 p.m.
Auburn basketball had their first practice yesterday. Here's what head coach Bruce Pearl said on the start of practice.
Our greatest strength is our depth. My biggest concern are really 2 things. One, the newness of our team, 4 or 5 potentially new starters, having a what could be a brand new backcourt. I mean, I knew that when I talked about a potential Final Four run. And just the inexperience of having to get there. So therefore, we're going to have to be a team that's going to have to get better throughout the season. We just are. And I think all teams, you can it's kind of, you know, we can say that every year, and I probably say that every year, but it's really true. But this team should get better because they are so new. I was just talking to Wendell, and Wendell said, you know, I know what we do, and I understand it in practice and stuff like that. But man, I just don't know what it's going to be like in that first game because he's never played in this system. He's never played with these guys, and yet, you know, ready or not, here it comes. It's going to be real, and it's not like we have, you know, 4 or 5 practice games to get ready. So we'll have to obviously, we'll learn a lot about our team, but that does not discount how hard they worked and how prepared they are for the first day of practice.
When we return, we will talk about what some Auburn alumni are doing in the pros. You are watching Sports Night in Auburn.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. A few Auburn alumni had some big performances on Sunday. The now Las Vegas Raiders teammates Peyton Barber and Daniel Carson helped guide their team to an overtime win over the Miami Dolphins. Running back Peyton Barber rushed for 111 yards on 23 carries for 1 touchdown. He now has 20 rushing touchdowns in his 6-year career. Kicker Daniel Carson, the reigning AFC Special Teams Player of the Week, had another fantastic week this week, hitting all 3 of his field goal attempts, including the game winner in overtime. Carlson is now 9 for 9 of the season and has made 29 field goals in a row. That's all for Sports Night in Auburn, but for more Auburn sports, head to our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, where we'll have everything you need to know to stay up to date on Auburn sports. I'm Mackenzie Collins.
And I'm Brendan McLaughlin. For even more sports, follow our Twitter at EETV_sports and follow our Instagram at EagleEyeTV. Good night and War Eagle.